From the nosebleeds to the studio, I'm your host, LJ. And with the sixth pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Anthony Black. I don't know. What's your reaction? Either cheers or not so cheers. Oh, man. Yeah, that's my reaction. What just happened? That's honestly the best way to describe it. Man, honestly, this was a long night going back and forth of just, or a long couple of hours going back and forth of what to think, honestly. Um, my immediate reaction was, you know, sad. I was definitely not upset at the player, upset at the fit. I didn't see it. I think upon further review, I've talked, I've kind of seen the vision of Weltman a little bit more, but my immediate reaction was to question what's happening with Suggs or Cole, and immediately Cole. That's like Cole Anthony is my favorite player on the Magic. Just from his energy and his camaraderie, just the type of player he is. Like, I'm a huge fan, and because of that, I definitely think he's a vital part of this rebuild. So upon getting another guard, you question, okay, you don't think Markel's gone, although it's possible, but he's like our, one of our best players. So you don't see that happening. With Suggs, he's a little bit more versatile two-way. So, you feel like they value that a little bit more. And then Cole, he gets somewhat attacked on defense. So his his skill is offensively. He can score with the best of them, sometimes. So ultimately, I do think if they plan on moving from someone, it's likely to be Cole. I hope not, but maybe neither of them have to go. Maybe with Black size and length, they can all play together. You know, ultimately, I mean, not necessarily them three, but meaning we wouldn't shouldn't have to get rid of our entire guard rotation. They're not entire, but shouldn't have to mess it up entirely. So we'll see if there's any moves down the horizon. You would expect, especially would expect something to happen if it's going to happen next week, free agency. But we'll see. Ultimately, this is it's going to be one that Magic fans are going to be back and forth about for a while until we see him on the court, and we see him on the court with Paulo and Franz specifically. But again, I'm just interested to see, especially for now. You'd definitely think he's coming off the bench, but ultimately, you envision him, a starter. I would assume. So how would that work with Markel and Cole and Jalen specifically? I think that's going to be the biggest question, but we'll see. I think ultimately, again, he is a high character talent, or man, kid, man, whatever. His talent is there, skills are there, the intangibles are there that our team looks for. So again, you see the pick, you see the positives of the pick. I'm just not convinced of the fit yet, even with the possibility of the positional versatility. Still not completely sold. Gonna have to wait and see a little bit more, honestly. Um, Ultimately, my grade for that pick, it's still a B minus because the talent is obvious, especially when you watch a lot of tape. So for those of you who are unaware, I did post my 2023 mock draft earlier today on the OrlandoMagicHQ.com. So definitely go check that out or check my social media for the link. I just didn't see us going with Black at the pick just based on what was still available. Because 1 through 4, although 2 and 3 were switched around, 1 through 4 or 1 through 5, excuse me, were right as far as the talent. So I was honestly feeling pretty good too. Like, all right, but you know, getting the local talent was gonna be great. But ultimately, the talent was still there. And in the mock draft, I speak on Black's talent. I just had him going to the Wizards, so 2 spots away. So ultimately, not too far off. So through all that talent evaluation, it's just like it would be foolish to give the Magic a bad grade because of that. Um, I do think that they gotta have a sense of what they're doing. Again, I just didn't. It didn't address the shooting need, which I thought we should do at 6 and 11, not just 11. But especially with Hendricks, him being the great two-way player, so addressing shooting and defense, 2 things that we needed to address, it's perfect for me. But it's all right. Ultimately, I'm not upset or too upset. But on the next pick are with the 11th pick, the Orlando Magic select Jet Howard out of Michigan, Anthony Black out of Arkansas. Mentioned that. Um, so again, another Michigan player. That's our third one now. Franz and Caleb Houston. So maybe there's something there. I don't know what that could be, but I mean, clearly everybody loves Franz, so dipping into that well is not the hardest thing to believe. But mentioning my mock, I had Jet projected at number 18, I think it was, to Miami. So it's funny, I didn't have him in Florida. I just had him for the rival. He was born in Miami, so kind of made sense for him to stay there. Ultimately, though, I like the pick. He is a good player. I just don't like the pick for where we picked him at, and the fact that Grady Dick was still on the board. I, like most Magic fans, were convinced that we needed Grady Dick on our team, just again because we needed to address shooting, which we addressed. But to me, we had the 2 best shooters available in Grady Dick and Jordan Hawkins, and we didn't do it. That bothers me. Now, ultimately, we'll see how it ends up. Because again, especially as a spot up shooter, Jet Jet got that in spades. Catch and shoot ability is there. Ability to kind of come off screens and hit jumpers is dope. I can't sit here and deny that. But ultimately, man, it's just a questionable fit at the end of the day, for the simple fact that, like, not questionable fit, excuse me, questionable decision that we just passed up on Grady. Again, just super, super convinced that we were going to go with the best shooter. And again, I think Jet's a good shooter. He wasn't the best. So I felt like we addressed our needs in not the best way. So on this pick, I'm a little bit more lukewarm on it. And my grade for that one is going to be a C. Again, not a bad player. Does hit some of our needs, but doesn't address them in the way that I think they needed to be addressed. Like again, we had Grady Dick there, and even Jordan Hawkins, who to me are number one and number two shooters in the draft. Grady has similar size to Jet, but being the son of a former NBA player, having that NBA pedigree, there's something to that. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, I can't, we might not be proven wrong being upset with this pick. But ultimately it's going to be a wait and see definitely for both picks, but especially with this one, man. Ultimately though for the Magic overall, you know, kind of aggregate those two, you know, ultimately the grade for them has to be a C plus. Again, we could look back on this next year and laugh that we were so skeptical. But again, I think we addressed some of our needs. I don't think the playmaking and defense were the number ones we needed to address. I think shooting was the number one we needed to address, followed by defense, followed by playmaking. So we did a little bit backwards, in my opinion. But we'll see how this turns out. Summer league's definitely gonna tell a lot. So all I know is that bench squad is looking solid. But again, it bodes a question. We have Caleb Houston. One of these guards is gone. I mean, as of now, I imagine Suggs being the starter. If I had to say today, I'm gonna say Markel at the one, Suggs at the two. We got Franz at the three, Paulo at the four, Wendell at the five, and then off the bench, Cole, Black, Caleb, Bobo, Mo Wagner, you know, or Chuma, Kiki, Bobo. Either way, it's I definitely like our bench. We definitely got one of the most exciting benches, I would have to say, in the league. Um, but ultimately, this draft is going to be determined so much by the how it ends up with Victor Wembanyama at the top. This is all about him. I feel bad for the expectations that he has, but the kid seems ready to embrace him. So good luck to the Spurs and him for that, because this is going to be a lot for him. But ultimately, I think he's going to be fine. I just think it's a lot of expectations. Um, but as a Magic fan, I think I can sympathize um, with just expectation, whether it's justified or not. So it's going to be there. But ultimately, man, that's my opinion on what the Magic did for this draft. Couple other notable things. But I just like to mention the Thompson twins getting drafted back to back. I think that's dope. Charlotte going Scoot over Miller. I think they should have went Scoot. Not that I think Miller's a bad player, but his showing at the tournament honestly still scares me. So we'll see. Um, Charlotte and Charlotte doesn't have the best history of their draft picks, especially number 2 overall. But we'll see. I am very interested to see this rookie season for both of those dudes in general. So, and then ultimately just the parity that I think, excuse me, this draft is going to ensue throughout the league because there's so much now more the need to pick and choose who's going to be the future of the team. And ultimately, like, that's what makes it hard for us, which again is think why it's possible what they drafted Black to give us more time with this young core, which again means which may mean one of our guards are expendable. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I assume. But ultimately, this was a very exciting draft. I think Lively going to OKC is great for them, or to the Mavericks is great for them, despite trading back with OKC. Um, I don't think he's going to be a double double guy right away, but definitely has the potential to be a solid 2-way player and a presence that they desperately need in Dallas. So I am not. I'm happy where he went. I thought OKC trading up meant they were going to get him, so that was a little bit surprising. But the biggest surprise, besides the Jet Howard, also it has to be the Bilal Koulibaly, um, teammate of Victor Wembanyama, heading to the Wizards. Not only that, the Wizards trading up to get him. I think one of the biggest winners were the Pacers. I think Jarris Walker was their choice all along, and they got him by trading back and getting extra assets. So Pacers a big winner on that. And then just again, ultimately just a very exciting draft. The biggest news for the day, though, Chris Paul heading to the Warriors. Bet y'all didn't see that one coming. I know I did not wake up today with that on my bingo card. So, wow, that was the. Oh, man. Yeah, I did not see that one coming. Um, my predictions on how that's going to go. Definitely his best chance to win a championship now, I'd have to say. But in order to preserve him, he needs to come off the bench. Like he can finish games, but he needs to be playing 25 minutes, I think. In order for Chris Paul to make the playoffs, to be able to make it into the finals, he's gonna need to play around that 25-minute mark. So just when you think basketball is over, look at us. This is the biggest news of the week. This NBA draft. So, man, this is why I love basketball. Just when you think there's nothing to talk about, we'll find something. Now, don't get me wrong. July, August is gonna get a little after summer league, but don't worry, we're still gonna have a lot to talk about. So, man, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been, my quick draft reaction. Ultimately, can't wait to hear feedback from all you guys and Magic fans on the Twitterverse, and just ultimately, man, just see what's the future for our team. Ultimately, it seems like one of our guards are expendable, so I hate to see who it is, but I'm interested to see what Weltman has in mind. So at this point, they've done a good enough job that they've earned that level of respect. I would think, you know. So Magic fans, stay patient. I think I think we'll be fine. There's not going to be a need to worry too much. So let's chill. Let's have faith and excited for the future. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next episode, where we're definitely going to get into a little bit of free agency preview and just a lot of else what's going on in the sports world. And I know you guys see the spinner belt. No worries. We're definitely going to get into some wrestling sooner than later. I was going to get into NXT the other day, but I didn't quite make it. So, but no worries. There's a lot coming soon that I'm excited for you guys to take part in. And we're going to start being live very soon. And, going to be able to interact with you guys. So excited to get that popping soon. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk soon. Deuces.